Toughness is a talent, and longevity can show the greatness of a fighter. In today's video, I'm going to talk about Brandon Figueroa and how people overlook what he's good at. In today's video, I'm going to break down Brandon Figueroa's win over Nick Ball. It is a little late, but if you like boxing, I advise maybe you tune into the content. As always, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and leave a comment if you have some criticism or something, or you enjoy the video. It really helps a lot. So let's get into it. So when I first got into boxing and covering the sport, I really was into the purists, the smart intellectual boxers. I thought that, that really showed. Maybe I didn't even think that. Maybe it was like I'm super insecure and I want to like the fighters that seem to use the most craft in the ring, and I wanted to learn a lot. So often watching a Guillermo Rigondeaux and watching what he does in the ring teaches you a lot about the sport. So I was really drawn to these fighters. And it was also at the time, I was around Gabriel Flores Jr., who was one of the best amateurs of that time. And I was learning a lot. When you're starting out in something, you learn a ton quickly. And then it seems like you hit a wall, and then it's more slow development or it's gaining experience. You learn a ton, and then you have to go through the school of hard knocks, which is experience. And I really appreciated the technicians. I was really high on this amateur style. I saw firsthand guys like Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Carlos Balderos, all great amateurs and all having a ton of success. And I was drawn to these great styles. And for years, I didn't take the Orlando Salidos or the Brandon Figueroas as serious as I should. And that all changed with one fighter, Rung Vasai, when he fought Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Now, you could make an argument. Chocolatito Gonzalez, a pressure fighter, an aggressive fighter. He does get hit clean. There might have been a weight ceiling. More than likely there was. And there was an age thing. And he got caught with a punch, and the fight changed, especially in that second one. He gets stopped. That being said, that kind of taught me that physicality is a talent in and of itself. And this video is about how Brandon Figueroa, a lot of people talk about, they'll say using the distance and all that. What Brandon Figueroa does is he shows up in shape, he swarms you, and he beats you up. His fight style is just as much about conditioning and a will to win and imposing discomfort on his opponents and making them think about breaking. And now he's done this style since 2019. He's approaching his 7th year of a very physical style, becoming a 2-division world champion, and doing it year after year. The only guy to clearly beat him was Stephen Fulton. Their first fight, I genuinely think Figueroa won that fight, and Fulton got it, but it was a very close fight. There's only been one fight where Figueroa truly lost it, albeit the Joe Gonzalez fight was very, very close. Figueroa is one of these guys where it's really easy to underestimate what he does well, right? Because you can't really teach what he does well. You can teach it, but you have to have a level of power, a level of physicality, a level of strength, and a level of commitment to the gym. There's techniques that work better, and you don't have to do as much. He's having to do a whole lot to do a whole little at times. And to do this year after year after year is quite impressive. To me, it was a remarkable win, and it spoke to his, dare I say, generational talent to go to the UK in possibly like the end-ish part of his career and stop a champion who's quite solid. Sam Goodman's a good fighter. He beat Raymond Ford to win the belt, Nick Ball. And yet here Figueroa does. He imposes his will, stops him in the final round, emotional victory, and now he's off to the races. Now he's one of the more interesting champions. And this featherweight division, we just need to see great matchups because it's reintroducing itself. And I think that's what makes this division so fun. It kind of reminds me of the junior middleweight division, where there wasn't really like a super elite fighter, but Jermell Charlo emerged out of the bunch because they all fought each other, and that made him a more fascinating and interesting fighter. And it's a shame that he didn't kind of stay active, because then some of the interesting up and comers, that would have been a great fight for all of them, because he had kind of established himself by going through the gauntlet. That's what featherweight feels like right now. And the guys that often get underestimated are guys that rely upon, physicality and force and strength. And I have a soft spot for those guys now because, boxing is a physical sport and you need talent, and you need all that stuff. But sometimes there's will guys that can just beat up fighters who have great, great technique because they can't take the pressure. And it goes back to an adage that, one time I was in a gym and I saw someone sparring and he'd eating a kale salad and all this stuff, a super healthy guy. And then he got beat up by a guy who drank a diet soda and ate a hot dog. And that's kind of what Figueroa does. There's like a level of macho to his style where it's like, I don't know how he eats or what his life is, but like there's a level of macho ness to, okay, you're going to work on this. You know what I'm doing and you know I'm going to oppose it. Him beating Nick Ball to me is one of the more impressive things that I've seen this year. And I thought that he might have been cooked. He had been kind of trending in the wrong direction to me over the past couple of years, especially in the Fulton fight. Joey Gonzalez gives everyone a hard fight. No one ever gives him credit. So that didn't mean as much to me. But to beat a solidified champion like Nick Ball really says something.